In this video, I'll be getting the Platinum Trophy for Mouse PI for Hire. This is a game I've been interested in for over a year for an obvious reason. The game has these amazing graphics and animations inspired by the 1930s, and some really fun gameplay inspired by some well-known FPS games. I really enjoy this game, and I would love to see more from these developers. Mouse PI puts you straight into the shoes of private investigator Jack Pepper, and our current task is to simply chase after our target. The nice thing about this game is how they do the tutorials. Literally every single tutorial is on one of these posters, and I really like that touch since most games just have a text box on screen telling you how to play the game. Shortly after, we get our first weapon, and since this is the beginning of the game gives us a chance to practice against one enemy before getting into the action. However, this isn't a Zebrawl video without me finding some way to almost mess up such a simple encounter. I feel like this is going to be one of those games I'm going to forget some random mechanics. I'm going to forget, like... Oh, it's Magnum. Oh, it's because I'm... Pick the right tool for the job. Hold triangle to browse your arsenal.
So now...
Oh, there we go. Wait. Oh, we have a... We can use our fist?
Or
how do you... Oh! 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 Hey! Hey!
Wasting
Bye.
time.
I didn't realize there was somebody here trying to fight me. Are there like save rooms like in Resident Evil? Like, is there like a typewriter? This isn't a survival horror game. We don't need that.
A few moments later.
This! An elevator. Oh, wait! Wait, is that the save? Oh, it's literally a typewriter! It's literally a typewriter! Wait! Wait! That wasn't even planned. That was not scripted. I was joking about that. I was like, where's the save? Where's the typewriter? I was like, oh wait, this isn't Resident Evil. Wrong game. Proceeds to immediately find the save, which also happens to literally be a typewriter. Eventually, we catch up to our target, but not before he escapes again and leaves us with our first major enemy encounter of the game. This encounter definitely showed off how fun the enemy encounters can get, but just wait until later in the game when we have more weapons. Later on, we locate the target once again, and of course there are more enemies to fight. This guy clearly knows what he's doing, because he comes up with the ultimate way to escape.
Are you fall down? What a crap.
Which brings us to Mouseburg.
Familiar. Wanda from the Mouseburg Herald. Usually she swings by the office with a lead. If it pans out, she hears it first. It's simple, really. She gets her story, I get a few bucks to stockpile cheese, and for a moment, Mouseburg gets to breathe easy.
Flashing back 2 weeks, we start our first actual case of the game that has us working with Wanda Fuller, who tells us to investigate the disappearance of a magician.
A magician? What, like some wacko waving a stale mozzarella stick in front of a bunch of bored middle-aged mice?
Something like that. But this one disappeared mid-show, right in front of a handful of surprised mice.
She gives us her ID to allow us entry into the building, which somehow works.
No entry without an ID.
Oh, here you go, officer.
Oh, looking great today, Miss Fuller.
Oh, you...
While exploring the building, I end up finding a comic and a newspaper, which are both required for their own collectible trophies. Heading into the magician's dressing room, I find a cute little frog instead of a hat, and also collect a couple of clues. Now the goal is to locate the magician's assistant, and this is where the game's combat starts to expand. You can drop heavy objects onto enemies, as well as shooting or kicking barrels, which all have their own trophies to obtain throughout the playthrough. We eventually make it to the magician's assistant, who seems to have been the last person to be a part of his show before disappearing.
What happened to you?
What you mean, what happened?
Well, not to double down on the joke, but you look, you know,
Yes?
a little broken up, somewhat detached.
She gives us the information we are looking for, so we head back to the office, which concludes the first mission of the game. The office is the main hub for the game, and we'll be doing a lot of things here, but for now, I just put the first few clues onto the crime wall. Before heading to the next mission, I decided to talk with some of the characters found in the area. One of these characters is Tammy Tumbler, one of the more important characters in the game. She wants a photograph of the opera house that we are conveniently about to head to for some reason. This is one of the 14 side jobs needed for a trophy. If you can't tell already, this game has a ton of collectible and miscellaneous trophies. Heading to the Opera House, this is where I got to experience the interactive map for the first time. I love how detailed this map is, and I love how you can pretty much go to every location visible on the map during the game. In this level, we have to locate the stage designer, but not before getting access to a new weapon, dynamite.
Pretty sure the fire department frowns on stuffing firecrackers into wooden attics.
We located the stage designer, who is tied up. He tells us that there's going to be an assassination, and to prevent it, we need to reach backstage.
Something about preparing for killing Stilton during the intermission and loading a big gun. Must be some lesser-known operettas.
Wait. Stilton? As in Cornelius Stilton, the mayoral candidate Stilton?
I don't know, man. I don't keep up with politics. I just finished a 20-hour calibration on the stage cannon.
You moron. They're no extras, and they ain't prepping for a show. There's Stilton. And there's the big gun. Judging by them bootsteps. So much for staying incognito.
On the way, I picked up the second gun in the game, which is the shotgun. This weapon was definitely fun to use, and it was one of my most used weapons. After fighting through more enemies, I found the Stuntman, who gives us our first ability in the game, which is double jump. This ability is easily one of my most used in the game because of how useful it is for getting to secret places. Shortly after, I made it to the first boss of the game, and since it was the first boss, it was pretty simple. All it took was shooting at her, and she was taken down pretty fast. Now we have to escape the burning opera house before it collapses, but not before snapping that photo for Tammy.
Well, hope she likes it.
After fighting through more enemies, we made it out of the opera house and returned back to the office, where I bought a newspaper from this paper boy, finally giving me my first trophy of the video. Immediately after, I bought my 5th comic strip, giving me another trophy. The next mission was to locate Bandle's hidden laboratory, and this mission would introduce us to these hooded enemies. Now, when I said Bandle's laboratory was hidden, I meant not hidden, because it was very easy to find. Inside the lab, I was immediately met by this giant octopus and a bunch of enemies. Shortly after, I found a new weapon, the Devarnisher. I'm not entirely sure what it actually does, even after 2 playthroughs, but I know it literally melts every type of enemy in this game, which was very satisfying. Later on, I located a mini boss fight with a robot called Robo-Betty, and all you had to do was avoid the lasers and its attacks. There were 3 of these throughout the mission. The second one had you fighting enemies, and this was the perfect chance for me to get some easy trophies. Oh, okay. So dynamite where actually. Oh wait. Got him. Whatever. Kill 5 enemies in 10 seconds. Holy kill 3 enemies in 1 shot! That is crazy. The last Robo-Betty took the mechanics of both of the previous 2 fights and put them together. This might sound difficult, but it was pretty easy, and once I finished the fight, I grabbed the clue and returned to the office where I won my first baseball game. I will need to win 30 of these for a trophy later, but for now I didn't worry about that. I missed 2 cards as well? Oh, we're going broke. Starter deck! Collect 5 baseball cards. I visited Tammy in her new location, and here is where you can upgrade your weapons. I had enough schematics to fully upgrade one of my weapons, earning me another trophy. Waiting in our office is Cornelius Stilton, who tells us to investigate missing shrews, and he sends us in the direction of the police station. It was immediately obvious that something was wrong here. To keep it simple, basically the shrews are being rounded up and put into jail. Right now we have no idea why, but it becomes clear later why this is happening.
And then, gone.
Gone how?
Gone. My buddy got nabbed for just being a shrew. Oh, okay, we've put up with that for years, but, word is, he didn't end up in a slammer. Just vanished.
Damn.
Not even Jack Pepper was safe, as the cops turned on us as well. I guess nobody here is safe.
Like a cop, talked like a cop, but, wasn't really a cop. What the hell is going on here?
Hey, newspaper. Mine. Cover to cover. Collect 10 issues of the Mouseburg Herald. Arriving at the police station, this is where we find out that the cops are clearly in on whatever conspiracy is happening with the shrews, except for this one good cop that was locked in a cell.
And done. You're free.
Thanks, man. This place is a real madhouse. The officer upstairs? Dirtier than the trash heap behind the precinct.
Heading into the offices, I fight through more enemies before collecting a clue from the safe and finding one of my favorite references from the whole game. Hey, that's how we get out?
Into the sewers.
Oh my...
Why? No one could know. Well, the shrews and the cops.
Welcome, Leon. Leon Kennedy is in this universe? Where's he at? Where's Leon at? After fanboying over a Resident Evil reference, I found my next weapon, the James gun, which was my favorite weapon of the whole game. Luckily, I was going to get a good chance to test it out pretty soon. Heading outside, I was immediately ambushed by a bunch of enemies that I had to fight through to get back to the car. It was pretty clear that this case was more than just a few shrews missing, and this is where I started to wonder if there's a connection between this case and our missing magician. So of course I did. Extremely graphic novel. Collect 10 comic strips. 30 baseball games. Power swing. I'm gonna buy this one. Babe got back. Continuing our shrew investigation in the subway, I found this little hat that clearly belonged to a shrew, which made me feel bad for them. However, that had to wait as I was immediately attacked by some more enemies. This is where I felt like the enemy count was starting to increase, as enemies were literally everywhere. The main part of this job had us fighting Vic Gator, who was actually pretty tough compared to the previous boss fights. This one took me a couple of attempts, but once I defeated him, I found the skill book that taught me the glide ability. Now this would come in handy immediately for reaching high places with fans. Oh, kill 10 enemies in 20 seconds. Let's go. I got that trophy. We locate the foreman, who gives us an important clue related to the missing shrews.
Wait! We're just transport. Hard help. Oh, outsource. That's what the boss told me to say, yes. May ain't our job to ask questions. We just deliver. It's them cops pulling the strings. Real rats, I tell ya.
There was one final ambush of enemies before returning back to our office, where waiting for me was Vivian McCarthy, someone that would be important for most of the game.
She waltzed into my office like she owned the place. Didn't have to say a word. I saw her voice the moment she walked through the door. Wrapped in makeup and a cloud of perfume reserved for the sleaziest Tinsel Brothers party.
She sends us to Tinsel Avenue, which is basically Mouseburg's version of Hollywood. Here, I earn a combat trophy before heading inside to see some animators that we immediately free from their jobs. There was a family sitcom set, and a set inspired by Indiana Jones, which is pretty cool. Rocky Ford, who is this universe's version of Harrison Ford, gives us the grappling tail ability, which I immediately got to test out by trying to outrun a boulder. What we are actually here for, though, is to find Betty Lynch, and we found a photo of her with the mayor. This is where the game started to open up a bit. Instead of just a single job and a single side job, we now had multiple of each that we're able to do at a time. Arriving at the opera ruins, we find Miles Curd, who is reluctant to answer any of our questions, so that was basically a waste of time.
Listen, Pepper Shaker, I don't like where this is going, so I'm giving you one last polite suggestion. Piss off. Grilling's over.
But it's still kind of smoky in here.
Get the hell out of my yard.
I went over to Wallet Bay, where I immediately got a trophy for hitting this giant fish. Fighting through more enemies, I got to use this finger gun power-up that's actually inspired by Cuphead. I need to bring these guys closer so I can shoot the barrel. Oh wait, that was it! Blast 20 enemies in a single playthrough by shooting explosive barrels. We got it! Later on, I found my next weapon, which is the loose cannon. It only really had use in this boss fight, which was a cool fight since I literally got to blow up a building. We located Cameron Bozo, who eventually led us to the workshop, where we found out that the shrews are being shipped off by the chief of police and someone called Z Professor.
Capiche?
Returning to the office, I turned to my 5th side job and headed over to Kurtzville. This place was easily one of my favorites just because of the aesthetic and vibe.
Just the way I pictured it.
There is this old shrew who apparently has some mystical powers. Immediately after meeting her, we get met by the hooded enemies, now armed with some dogs, and we obtain our next weapon, the Kiss Kiss. I didn't use this weapon that much since the fire rate was slow and the ammo capacity was limited. The goal is to get into the mansion, which is guarded by the caretaker, who is not about to let some random person into the house.
Visitors.
But see, I'm a PI and...
Gumshoes stain carpets. No gumshoes. Scram.
The old shrew tells us to find the rings of his 3 dead ex-wives. Oh! Yeah, that isn't dark at all. The first 2 rings were easy to get, but the final ring wasn't as easy. We had to shine a light on her to defeat her, and I thought this was one of the coolest boss fights of the entire game so far. The fight didn't last long, and the ghost dragged the caretaker into the ground as a form of revenge. The mansion had a few clues, but the big one was Miles' daughter, Millie Curd. We answer a phone call, and in a shocking turn of events, Miles is now dead. This is basically the halfway point of the game, and this is also where everything started to blend together. The next 2 missions mostly have the same structure: fighting enemies, collecting clues, and unraveling more of the mystery. This is mostly a time where I got to enjoy the uniqueness of the game without a lot of trouble. Arriving at the secret show, we find the body of Miles Curd and get to play some fun carnival games and get another fun reference. Fun stuff. Now what do we have? What did he say? What are you buying? Are you the merchant from Resident Evil 4? This mission ended with us finding some shrews locked up in cages. I told you this game was gonna get dark. Z Professor escapes, and we have to fight a hitman.
Detective Jack Kessler. I was told you might interfere.
He goes down pretty fast, but he actually doesn't die here. He realizes he isn't being paid anymore and leaves, but we'll see him again later.
Alright, boys, you're free to go.
And girls? I'm a girl.
My apologies. And the girls.
Returning back to the office, I pinned the new clues, and this is where it becomes clear that all 3 cases were interconnected. While pinning the clues, we hear a BMP agitator trying to promote their propaganda, so we punch them in the face to get them to leave.
Yeah, get out of here, Phil.
We return to Tinsel Brothers, but this time at the Western set, where we get into a full shootout with enemies, and even get to run from a train.
Crying out loud.
I also earned my final combat trophy here. Right. There it is. Spike these 16 times. Or spike 16. Crush 20 enemies with heavy objects in a single playthrough. After that train chase, I get to relax on a boat. We found a cute newlywed couple, a cheating couple, and also the BMP.
The hell was that?
Relaxation cut short, we end up trying to fight Sims in his plane. All you have to do in this fight is fire the turrets of the plane. We win the fight, but not without the plane crashing into the boat, causing a massive fire. Escaping the boat, we wrap up the shrew case. Sort of.
Never meet your heroes, they say. And sometimes, they are dead right. Sims, a shining star of the Force, turned out to be the mastermind behind the crooked cops and the shrew kidnappings.
This is when I realized that I went out of order for the shrew case missions, so those trophies will pop in some weird places. More on that later. Immediately catching up on the shrew case missions that I skipped, I popped one of the trophies related to the case, and arrived at a new thicket where I had to fight in a pit that had a ton of enemies coming out doors from every direction. This part was one of my favorite parts of the game, by the way. We returned to the swamp to find out more about where the shrews went, and the key clue led us to the Kurzville Nut House.
Were ferrying the shrews. The Uphill Resort, or as city mice like to call it, a good old nut house. Place has been locked down.
Before investigating that, I decided to wrap up the Blue Betty case and return to Tinsel Brothers one more time. This is where the most unique area of the game was located. Okay, we have the Wizard of Oz right there. And look through here. Probably some money. And that's it.
Richie, you moron! Pepper's here!
Why is it in color?
Why would we need Pepper now? That stings in the...
Jack Pepper, you imbecile! Call the bodyguards now!
That's funny. This game, nothing else is in color. It's the funniest thing except for this. This mission had a boss fight against Reggie, which started out as a shootout before ending with a fist fight. Vivian escapes, but not before leaving a note that wraps up the case. You may have noticed again that I didn't get a trophy for that. Well, it turns out I missed some clues, and also I did some missions out of order. I'm doing another playthrough anyway, so I'll get those trophies during that part. Arriving at the Nut House, I was immediately greeted with a trophy related to the Blue Betty case. We end up in a decontamination area that also drugs us, and this is where it gets a bit crazy.
This decontamination sure smells...
We find a talking brain in a chamber that turns out to actually be our next weapon, the Jarhead, which stuns enemies. I didn't use this one much, but it was fun to use occasionally. Through the level, we follow Millie until it gets very weird.
Holy moly. Gun, you seeing this? Gun, are you... Oh. Huh. I'm not tripping on cheese fumes no more. What the hell happened here?
Traveling through dimensions and fighting through enemies, we make it to Steve Bandle, who has a small boss fight. Eventually, he gives up and gives us the information we were looking for, wrapping up the missing magician case.
Break I wanted, 'cause he was still dirty, still a bastard, still that cynical son of a... But he was my war buddy, and he wasn't dead.
The last job of this part of the game takes us to the docks to get a diving suit, which we then use to head underwater to infiltrate a submarine. Before going to the submarine, I found this guy literally sleeping with fish, and this guy's actually required for the final side job in the game. Heading into the submarine, we get stopped by Z Professor, and we get put into a boss fight. All this fight takes is shooting turrets and generators while the submarine starts to flood. With Z Professor taken down, we grab the final clue and head back to the office. I turned in my final side job and pinned my final clue, and now my job is to rest because we solved the case. This is where the credits roll, right? We head to our bed to sleep, and in the middle of the night, we are woken up by a raging fire burning everything down. John's bar got burned down, so we need to get our revenge on everyone who started this fire. Starting with another boss fight against our hitman friend. This boss fight was just as easy as the last one, so we escaped with a life saved, but our evidence gone.
Steve, that son of a bitch, always had one more race up his sleeve. Told me from the frickin' beyond he'd made a habit of recording his shadier contacts, and he left a tape.
Our next plan of action is to head to Bandle's mansion, where he provides us with our final weapon of the game, the portable freezer. This is basically a freeze ray. I thought it was pretty fun to use, but I didn't use it much in the final parts of the game. We head to where the BMP are located and obtain our final ability in the game, climbing.
Seem to have some lasting effects.
I'm surprised we didn't get that ability earlier in the game. That would have been a nice help early on. We expose the BMP's secrets and everything starts to make sense.
Don't care how. I want a clean red line of free housing. I drop Stelton and grab that frickin' magician's fortune. I don't care how. Dump upon the loonies on it if you have to. Just do something. Oh, and deal with the magician's inheritance while you're at it.
That character from the start of the game, that's the mayor, and our target that we were originally chasing. So, coming full circle, we repeat the first mission of the game, with all of our weapons available. Being the final mission, I collect my final comic and newspaper, earning some trophies. We already covered this mission earlier in the video, but the main difference is the increase of enemies to offset our weapon arsenal. We get to see what happened in Jack this time though.
This is where you fall down.
What a crappy...
Tammy saves us, and we get to play a fun action sequence where we shoot enemies while jumping between planes. Reaching the final boss of the game, I can say this was an interesting fight. The first phase is dodging lasers, while the last phase is complete insanity. Between having to shoot enemies and Sawyer himself, this was definitely a chaotic fight, but Sawyer eventually went down, and the case was finally brought to a close. Tip of the cheeseburger! Rest easy, detective. Case closed, or is it? That was it.
Something tells me there are cheese strings out there yet to be unraveled. But today, I'm done.
Anyway, it is cleanup time. This will be fast since it's literally just collectibles. First, I cleaned up all the clues related to the missing magician and Blue Betty cases.
Looks like your research.
Then I collected all the baseball cards and upgraded every weapon. That leaves me with one more thing, baseball. I actually only had to win 24 games on the save since it carried my 6 wins from my original save over. So I got the trophy for winning 30 games. There it is! Okay, it was cumulative across save. I didn't even have to do 30. Thank goodness. It was cumulative across games. Overall, this game was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed my time with it. I would love to see a sequel entirely themed around that colored section at Tinsel Brothers. I would definitely pick that up immediately. Now onto that platinum trophy. That's amazing. I only had to do 24. Anyway. I have a lot more. I have so much more than the amount that is required for this platinum. For this. There it is. Everybody loves ray guns. Let's go. Another platinum trophy is down. Thanks for watching, everyone. I had fun making this video, and if you enjoyed it, feel free to give it a like and hit the subscribe button. I'll see y'all next time. Bye, everyone.